This is the face of a broken boyfriend. For I just watched a room in town. Un chamber un ville. Un chamber un ville. Um, a late career gem from Jacques Demy, one of the new mascots of the channel. And this film, kind of pulverizing. It's so tragic, and I mean, it's also so beautiful, but there's something so defeatist about it that you're not used to from Demi. Uh, I'm not used to pessimism from Demi, and to see it executed in that colorful, musical, Demi-esque way is shocking. Un chambre en ville is very interesting. I kind of liken Demi to if you've seen Day for Night, the Francois Truffaut film. I've poked fun at how sanitized Truffaut made the director appear that he himself portrayed in Day for Night. Um, he would go to sleep and hear criticisms of, why don't you make more political films? Why don't you make erotic films? So I would joke and say that Jacques Demy is that actual person. um, because Umbrellas of Cherbourg or Young Girls of Rushmore, I mean, his work has been charged with while it is romantic for sure, it's not explicitly erotic or political. In Chambre en Ville, he is explicitly erotic and unforgivably political. But still, Jacques Demy is a truth teller to me. Cinema is where you amplify truths, and the musical is where you are allowed to be the most melodramatic you can possibly be. So he makes musical films. He makes the loudest, most amplified versions of truth possible to create something that is so exaggerated that it becomes beautiful and completely symbolic of sincerity. And on Chambre en Ville, there is there's a strike going on that our main character Francois is a part of. Yet he doesn't seem to be. I mean, he's invested in it, in the idea that he believes in solidarity, he believes in friendship, he believes in what's right, he believes in just causes. I'm sure. But what interests him a lot more is this woman right here. Is having sex with her, is falling in love with her, is changing his life for her, is rediscovering purpose with her, briefly being infatuated with her. That's what interests him a lot more than the strike. He's murdered by the police in a strike that is more or less irrelevant, but the fact that it is irrelevant is entirely relevant to the human condition. The things that we believe define our lives. I mean, I think that that's a bourgeois privilege. The end of this film is the working class man, the proletariat, is murdered by the police in the street in service of a cause that he honestly wasn't that driven by. And upon his death, his lover, a class traitor, a beautiful young woman from the bourgeois, shoots herself in the heart out of despair and longing. She gets to die for the cause of love, for a lofty cause, for a bourgeois cause. Because dying for romanticism, dying for emotion, living simply for emotion, and dying for it just the same is a privilege, is a bourgeois privilege. Because what ends up taking the lives of the poor are things that they have no control over, things that are entirely irrelevant to the human condition. The human condition is to love, is to break hearts and mend hearts just alike. But what ends up killing the poor are political ambitions of others, are low wages and poor working conditions. War and famine, that's what ends up killing the poor. The rich, they have the luxury to die of a broken heart. The poor don't have that luxury. Violette, who was going to go on to be a single mother in this film, Francois was leaving her for a rich bourgeois woman who walked around wearing nothing but a fur coat. Violette, who Demy imbued her with certain shades of Catherine Deneuve. There was something so angelic and beautiful about that character, and the pastels, the pink pastels, the purple ones. She's so gorgeous. And it really is another chance for Demy to champion the single mothers, which he did in every one of his films. Every one. She's the true hero of this story. In my eyes, she's the most empathetic part of it. The quality of tenderness and sensitivity, I find that in Violet. And she's also the most beautiful thing in the film, too. But if you want Demy to be political, he can. If you want Demy to be erotic, he will, but he will also be violent. He will be passionate and he will be sensual. But it's the pornography of the bourgeois to think that you can just live romantically in a time of constant political struggle. So what Demy likes to do in his musicals is he likes to elevate the shopkeeper, the mechanic, the metal worker, to levels in Hollywood classic films usually reserved for more exotic, more unique jobs, more rigid archetypes. He likes to elevate the normal person into something cinematic. He wants you to bring cinema to the streets and then back again. And on Chambre en Ville, late in his career, he decided to show us a pessimistic image, give us a pessimistic melody, a true operatic tragedy. Musically speaking, Michel Legrand is not his composer here. His composer is Michel Colombier. And this film's music is a bit more traditional, or at least more fluid. It's not a jazz opera. It is an opera with some 80s flourishes. It is an opera. Through and through. The melodies make sense. The structures in the tragedy are met one by one until its ultimate conclusion. And its ultimate conclusion is quite an extraordinary statement from a director who's been charged with sanitizing political situations in favor of dance and song. And by the way, fuck you if you ever made that criticism. Because that's not charitable at all. That's a bad faith criticism. On Chambre en Ville, provides Demy's language, his cinematic landscape, with a slice of pessimism. But Demy's right. We all wish we could live romantically, but doing that isn't something that most of us are allowed to do. Hell, even the poor will hurt each other to leave them for a carnal taste of the rich, which is what Francois does to Violette. Francois feels like much more of a class traitor than she does. It's wonderful seeing Danielle Darrieux in here. I know she was in Young Girls at Rushford and she was wonderful there, but I love Danielle Darrieux because she was, of course, Madame Duh in The Earrings of Madame Duh, the Max Ophuls masterpiece. And I think she gives the best performance in the film. It's just a pulverizing film. When Demy wants to lift your heart, make it soar, my God, do you go flying. But when he wants to break it, when he wants to shatter your heart, You better believe he does. You better believe there's no going back.